All right, everybody, game faces. No,
I'm on. Let's go.
I'm on. All right. Excuse me. All right, what episode is this?
9.
Not
9?
nine.
Are we on episode 9?
9. We're on episode 9, Jessica.
We're on episode 9. Okay,
9.
all right. What is up, dropouts? Welcome home. We're on episode 9 of season 2. I cannot believe we've made it this far.
We're more than halfway.
More than
Isn't it
halfway.
weird?
It's taken a lot of coffee, a lot of
Yeah.
tears. But here we are. Here we are. If you are new to Wisdom by Design, we are a podcast for the creative looking to enrich their life with knowledge. We will not be giving you 3 ways to get rich quick. That is for losers. That is not how that works, okay? We are for the college avoider, the corporate dropout, the person burning the midnight oil on their next big project, aka literally everybody in this room. We're here to talk with you, offer up the processes that work for us in our business, and to be real about the ones that don't. Because let's be real again, there are a lot of business processes that really don't work for everybody. So this might be your new fave podcast, but we're kind of biased. So my name is Jessa.
And I am Cameron. And we have a guest today.
I'm Tayanna. I'm so excited to be here.
Yes, and Tayana, who are you? What do you do? Please tell us all about your business.
Yeah, so I am a boudoir and wedding photographer, but I'm here to talk about my boudoir side. I run a business called Good Bodies in Kansas City, Missouri, and I photograph people from all walks of life, all over the world. Basically, my business model is photographing marginalized folks in the safe space.
Beautiful, beautiful,
I love
beautiful. So we really want to know, how the heck did you even get started? Where did this journey begin? Were you always planning on being a photographer, or were you in a job that you hated? Please tell us.
Oh gosh. Okay. So I really need to get this down to like a tight 5, but essentially.
You got all the time in the world. You don't have to.
Yes, take your time.
Take your time.
Okay. All right. Perfect. Actually, a dog's looking at me. 1 second. Hopefully we can edit my bullshit out. 1 second.
Yeah.
We may leave a few in for flavor. It's fine.
Yeah. That's
All
so
right, and that's
funny.
only
A few in for flavor.
That's only one dog.
Oh gosh.
Okay. Hopefully your siblings come soon. That's annoying. Okay. So, I started in, oh my God, are you serious?
We're leaving that one in. I love that one.
That's so funny.
Oh shoot. And you said you have 4?
I do.
Oh, look at
A
their little butts.
little tail.
Hi, little tinies. Oh my gosh. Okay, who is this? Introduce.
This is Matilda.
Matilda, look at that face.
AKA Tilly. Here, let's just do a quick roundup since you're all here being annoying, and then I want you out of my face. Atticus.
Oh, great name. Oh my goodness. Hi. I know they
just
can't
like-
hear me, but I have a problem with talking to dogs. It's fine.
Pose for the picture. They're like, I'm here. This is what I do.
Get all 4, you know.
Penny.
Oh.
She's a puppy and not the brightest, but we love her. And then Cookie is a very small chihuahua and is old and has time for nobody's bullshit, so I won't grab her unless she comes in later.
That's fair. We respect boundaries up in this podcast. That's good.
Exactly. Okay, so anyway, now that all the dogs are inside, I actually started in high school. I had a friend who was super into MySpace and self-portraits. I did that. I was like, wow, I do not like taking photos of myself. And so I was like, what if I took photos of other people? And then I started being recognized just kind of like in my high school photography course. And so they started having me do showcases and stuff like that. And so I was like, oh, am I good at this? And
yeah,
this is really
no.
Yeah. And I was like, oh, this is weird. And then like I won like a couple of awards. And so I was like, what if I went to school for this? And that was a mistake. So I actually do have my degree in photography. I wish I didn't. That is the most expensive thing that I have ever done, for no good reason. And
Can you explain, would you mind actually explaining that? And here's why. We literally, our base and the reason we started this is because we've all gone to college for bullshit stuff.
Bullshit.
And we're sitting here doing things that we either couldn't do with our degree or absolutely far away from our degree. So why, can you tell us why that didn't work for you?
So college was always the expectation for me growing up. I grew up in a family of school teachers. So it was super important to them that I went. And I think that I don't know if I necessarily regret going to college. I think it gave me a lot of good life experience. I think maybe I just should have majored in something else, but I went to one of the few schools in the country that gives you a degree in photography, not as a Bachelor of Arts, but as a Bachelor of Science.
Oh, wow.
And yeah, so they actually require you to go through a business kind of program. Like you have to create like a business plan and all these things before you're allowed to leave. And I was like, wow, I'm going to really get that leg up. And then I think my sophomore year, because you have to pick a specialty, you have to go through all different kinds. So you have to try food photography first, you have to try commercial photography, you have to try portraiture, and then you have to pick your medium. And I suck at taking photos of food. I don't have the patience to figure out lighting ratios. So here I am in the portrait world, and all the portrait photographers left my sophomore year. And so they had the other professors teaching me.
Oh, wow.
And none of them wanted to be there. They all straight up told us that they hated portraiture work and thought it was dumb. Oh. And so I was just like, why am I still here? And so they would hire like random adjuncts who had no business teaching. And so I basically now have a $30,000 piece of paper for no reason.
Okay. So it literally, okay. All right. Yeah.
Yeah. So I actually learned a lot more after graduating and like just kind of throwing myself into it. I had a mentor for a while who let me tag along on wedding sessions. And then I kind of got into the 9-to-5 hustle. So I've worked pretty much at every big name company you can imagine. I did tech support for Apple for a while. I sold cars for a while. I worked, I worked at a big name tech company here in Kansas City called Cerner for a while. I did a lot of informational tech in medicine. So I had IT jobs for a really long time and was making decent money. And then I got married and I was like, I am miserable. And my husband was like, you make more money than me, quit your job.
Yeah.
And so the minute we got married and I could have benefits, I quit my job. And now I do this full time and I make more money than I could ever imagine. And it's the happiest I've ever been. And I have time to do things like chat with people like you. And it's really fun and it's really cool. And I don't know, it's a blessing. Like I really don't know how I ended up here when I was selling cell phones to people who obviously just like hated being alive. And so it's just been a real journey.
That's so funny. That's so interesting though, because I feel like there's so many people, especially around our age, with that same experience where it's just like they went to college for something, they just end up doing the most random things. Like, and that was just to do, it was just enough. It wasn't enough to make their life any better, to get a leg up. It was just enough. And then I'm glad to see a lot of people just going for their thing. And it's like, yeah, use that passion. That passion will push you a little bit further.
Yes. Yeah. My mental health suffered for so long. And my husband was like, why are you doing all of these jobs that you hate? You know that I would literally be sitting in these jobs going, I wish I could email my clients back. I wish I could go take pictures right now. I wish I could not be here. Like I could be making more money not being here. Like
yes. I am like sitting at my job, like in between like hospital clients, like on the talk, like and like my boss comes in and I'm like, yeah, yes, exactly. Like I'm trying to email my clients back and I'm just like, how do I get out of here? How?
Yes. So because you had the health security, you said you had the health benefits and everything. Was that like your main reason for going, okay, I'm done? Because some people are like, I want to have a nest egg. Some people are like, I'm literally just scared. I don't want to do it. And then, you said you had that health benefit. How did you decide to finally just go, okay?
So there is like kind of like a multi-layered part to that. So essentially what was happening was my goal was always to be full-time. Like I'll look back at my Facebook memories and I'll look at me and I'll be like, what a whiny bitch. Like I was always crying about how like I just wanted to work for myself and I was sick of it. And I was like, no one appreciates me. I hate it here. Yes. And then there was like the layer of like, I've worked for other people. Like I've had a job since I was 15 years old and I've never gone without one. I got myself through college working 3 jobs at one time. Same. Like, yeah, like it's just like, I've always had like that hustle mentality. Like I know it's toxic, but like, that's just me now at this point. Like I go, and I'm going to make it happen. Right. So when I got into my last job, which was at a hospital here, and it was, I don't know if you know the tech industry very well, but it's like a lot of old racist white men and it's bad. It's bad. Like I remember walking into one of my jobs one day and they were sitting in a circle and I was like, what's going on, guys? What are we talking about today? And they're like, did you see this thing? Like, we're just talking about how blackface really isn't that bad and people need to get over it. And I was just like, oh, I'm gonna go.
Like, that happened to me one time.
Back through that door and pretend we just didn't have this conversation.
Yeah.
Wow. That happened to you once?
At my job before this was engineering, so that's a bunch of old white men too. And I would just walk into work and they'd just be trying to challenge me on like Black Lives Matter every day. And I'm like, why am I the representative?
Can I do my job and get my check and leave? I don't even want to talk to any of you.
Yeah.
Yes. So it's exactly that. And so I was just like, I have to go. I can't be a part of this anymore. I can't talk to you. I can't pretend like I like you. It's painful. Yeah. So I told myself that I would leave once I had $15,000 saved, because that was like 4 or 5 months of expenses for me. And then some stuff happened at my last job. It was just kind of more of that. They had put me, like, I had taken the job because I was told that I would not have to be on call 24/7, which doesn't work when you're a wedding photographer. And when I got there, they were like, oh, by the way, no, you actually do have to. And I was like, oh, well, then I'm leaving. And so it was just kind of like the final straw. And so my husband and I sat down, printed out all of my money stuff. Like I think I'd only saved like 8 or 9 at that point, but he was just like, if something happens, we'll figure it out. Like we can take something out of savings, we can do whatever we need to do. And luckily we had like just gotten married, so we also had some savings from like gifts from people. And then the pandemic hit and I was like, oh, holy shit, why did I quit my job?
So that is actually one of my questions, because so you quit your job literally right when that happened. Holy crap.
It was 4 months before.
So how has starting, and if I ruin, like if I mess this up, let me know, but how has starting a 6-figure business from home, literally during a global pandemic, changed the way that you think about limits of somebody else's minds?
Oh my goodness. It's been incredible, because so like there's a lot of people who are just like, I can't do it. Because of X, Y, and Z reason. And I'm not saying, like, we're seeing that people are quitting their jobs now just because they're like, I'm tired of like living in this capitalist society. Like, I don't want to work someplace that doesn't serve me. People aren't paying me enough. And that's absolutely fine. But I will tell you, so in Boudoir specifically, I'm going to assume it's okay to talk about money here.
100%. 100%.
Yes. I mentioned your business, so I hope that was okay. Like, I don't know if that's correct. Please correct me.
Yes. Yeah. No, I'm not shy about it at all. So my first full year in business, so I'm talking like, I'm not including right when I quit because I had a couple months there, but my first full year in business, so all of 2020, I think I ended up grossing $167,000. And anytime before that, I think my maximum was like around 50 or 60K. So there were a lot of things that I kind of had to be okay with, but at the same time, people don't realize that the only people who can't afford you are the people that you're deciding can't afford you, if that makes sense. So you are putting your mindset in their pocketbooks when you should be minding your own business.
That was a bar. That is a bar.
Say that louder. Holy
well, it's just like, it's so important. And I think that people really need to realize that you are putting your own limiting beliefs on somebody else. Yes. And I think that's also completely different, because I think that it also needs to be said that there is a toxicity in people who run luxury businesses who tell people, well, you just don't want to afford me, because that's bullshit. There are people who genuinely cannot afford certain things, and you need to stay out of their pocketbooks as well. Like if someone can't afford you and they tell you that and they move on, then you just let them move on.
100%.
So what I'm finding a lot, so my average customer spends about $3,500 during a boudoir session with me.
Right.
A lot of people are like, I don't do X, Y, and Z, so I could never afford that. But I will say that about 30% of my clients are service industry workers. So what they're doing is I have payment plans that go all the way up to 9 months. So if someone is wanting to book with me, it's like what, $200 a month. They're setting aside their tips and they're paying me once a month for 9 months, and then they're treating themselves. They're doing something for themselves that they want. Because let's be clear, boudoir is a luxury service. It's not something that anyone necessarily needs. I think it can be super helpful. It can be healing, but it's not something that someone has to do. So in me reaching out to those people and not being like, oh, you don't wear Louboutin, so there's no way that you're going to come in and book with me, then those people are leaving like a whole subsection of people behind that they could be booking. So I think that especially in the pandemic, when people were just like, no one's spending money on things anymore, no one was going anywhere.
Yeah.
So many people just had money saved up and they were like, shit, well, I guess I'm going to book a boudoir session with Tayanna. And I was like, oh, that's awesome. Yes, please do.
Yes. I literally thought, I was like, the first month was scary because literally everything halted. But literally once everybody was stuck at home, they're like, you know what? I just realized how important family pictures are. I need to go get my family pictures taken. You know what? We have all this money saved up. Our bills are paid. Let's go and do, like I was shocked at how many people were actually spending money. And I was like, are we supposed to be doing this right now? Like,
I even have like,
it didn't fail. I thought it was going to completely collapse and it didn't.
I have like a weird experience too, because I was doing like a bunch of illustration stuff, like illustration work. And I was just doing like stickers. I was like, oh, I'm just going to make some stickers. And people started, I made like $5,000 off of stickers just for like nothing. Like I really didn't do a lot of effort and people were just trying to throw money around. It was so weird. Like
I love that for you. That's amazing.
It was so weird. So yeah, I think the pandemic was like, a lot of people had these negative connotations on like how people would be with money, but it just seemed like, the rest of their life was shut down. So they still wanted to experience life. So what are they going to do? They're still going to spend money. It's a different story now that people, again, they lost a lot of their jobs. The beginning to the end, a lot of people lost a lot of things. So maybe now it's a little different than when we were in the pandemic, but during the pandemic, people wanted to spend.
Right. Yes. And I also think what's really important is I've seen a lot of people say that they've realized what's important because of everything that they've lost. And they're just like, I'm going to treat myself and I'm going to go do something that's just for me. And like, time is too short. I lost a parent. I lost a sibling. It's like all of these things happen. And so if what I want to do is go get naked for someone, then that's what I'm going to do at this point.
Yes. Seriously. Oh my gosh. I had like horrific, my mental health during the pandemic was shot. I mean, panic attacks every single day. Like my anxiety was awful. And as I literally learned how to start taking care of myself because of it. If I wouldn't have had the pandemic which I know it sucks because it was an awful, horrible thing that happened. We lost so many people. I literally had to sit there and look at my own shit. Like everybody did. Everybody had to sit there and they were forced to look at their own shit. And it was just thinking back to where we were then to where we are now. I feel like people have so much more self-awareness.
Oh, absolutely.
Oh my goodness.
I think it's weird because at the same time, I feel like sometimes people still don't, because there's a lot of people who are acting like this is just over. And I'm like, I just got an email yesterday saying we got a whole new variant because y'all won't get the damn vaccine, but I guess do what you're going to do. And so like, it's weird considering that, because I'm like, we could be back in the same place in a couple months if like you don't shape up, but I guess do whatever you gonna do. But it's like at the same time, you're just kind of like, okay, well, I have like learned a lot. Like you said, I learned a lot about myself. I too have debilitating anxiety. And what was funny was during the pandemic, I was fine being at home.
Oh, I was too.
I was just like, oh, I don't have to talk to anybody.
Yes.
I don't have to talk to anybody. I don't have to go anywhere. People don't touch me here. Like I'm just here.
They're not breathing near me.
Yes. And so I think the weirdest thing was, because I shoot weddings, was I had to go there. That was the only time I ever left my house. And I was having panic attacks going, this is it. I'm going to get sick here. I'm going to die because I had to shoot this wedding because it was the only way that I could take care of myself and my family.
Yeah.
Oh. girl.
And that's so weird because people didn't give a shit.
No, they didn't. So we were shooting weddings during that time too, and I was literally carrying around my panic attack medication because I felt like I was literally seeing germs. Like that's how like my mental health had
Yes.
like freaking developed into this huge monster. And like leaving my house, I'm
Yes.
thinking about it like I'm sweating. I would be shaking, like
Yes.
thinking about going to the grocery store. There was one time, so I have a toddler. There was one time we were trying to get to, I don't even remember where we were going, but we were on the road and she had to go to the bathroom. And the only place was a gas station. And my heart, I mean, I was nauseous. I was sweating. I was like, my heart's about to come out of my chest. And I was literally crying, trying to walk her into the bathroom and like shaking, like, oh my God, we're both going to get COVID right here. Like it's going to happen right
Yes.
here. Like, and the fact that people didn't even care. Like they're literally
some people are just like nothing's going on.
They're just raw dog in the air with their mouths. Like, come on, man.
Tell me why that's my favorite phrase and I keep getting in trouble for using it.
What?
I literally just the other day was like, I can't believe y'all are out here raw dogging air like this. One of my friends was like, you can't keep saying stuff like that in public. And I was like, I can and I will.
I walked into a gas station the other day and I was like, I do not feel like being dicked down by people's germs. So can we please leave?
Yes.
That's so funny. That is so
yes,
weird,
absolutely. And I also like, oh yeah, this is Cookie. This is the old lady. Hi, sweetie. But yeah, that's what I think is weird. And especially like when you said you could see germs, I felt like I was in like those like police procedurals where they turn a black light on and then everything's just semen.
Yes.
That's how I felt like it was when I went to weddings. I'd be like, I can't believe you're touching that railing. I can't believe you're all eating off the same pizza plate. Like, what are you doing? And I would just sit in the corner in my mask and it was just like, no, I can't believe. So things have just been really different. And like, I'm slowly starting to loosen restrictions at my studio.
Mm-hmm.
And it's been really nice, especially because one of the things that we were doing, so what's up? Okay. One of the things that we had planned before was we were going to do a lingerie party at my studio. So people were going to, it was going to be a raffle for one of our women's shelters here. And so people were going to bring like toiletries and stuff and they would be entered into a raffle to win stuff. And you could choose to wear lingerie or you could not. But I had a couple guest speakers coming to talk about body image and kind of stuff like that. And it was like, I was looking forward to it. And, you know, COVID first started and they were like, oh, you got to stay at home for 2 weeks. And I was like, guys, we are doing this. And then they were just like, oh, no, we're not. Mm-hmm. And so now like I'm I'm at a point where I'm like, do I want to go ahead and start this? Like, do I want to go ahead and like do the lingerie party again? Maybe just make it smaller, figure out something to do. But I feel like we all need that sense of community right now.
All right. Next question. Yeah. So when we talk about starting businesses a lot, and me and Jessa both I'm a new business owner. Jessa's been doing this for a while. I know a lot of the stuff I struggled with at the beginning was like it was big when it started, but it got easier as you kind of go on. When you started your business and you really like got out there, what were some of the things that you really struggled with when you were kicking it off?
So I think I've always been like a super organized person, but I think setting boundaries is something that me and my therapist get to talk about a lot. And
Can we talk about the book I just bought, Set Boundaries, Find Peace?
Oh, I love that.
I'll send you the link.
Okay, thank you. So I think like one thing was like and you know what, to an extent I still do, but I would say yes to everything that someone asked me because I didn't want to miss out on money, or I didn't want to be seen as someone who wasn't available or wasn't approachable or whatever it was. And so I was packing my schedule tight and I was leaving no room to breathe. I was so burnt out. I was working, we had mandatory 50-hour weeks at one of my jobs. And then I was having to like when I got down with work, like drive straight to sessions and then work on the weekends. And so I was working 40, 50 days, like doing nothing, but working.
Mhm.
And I had no time to spend with my friends, my family, my husband. Like it was unbearable. And so saying no was something that I eventually had to learn. And I still struggle a little bit, but I'm definitely getting better. Like every year now, I take every December off. Sometimes I'll shoot a wedding or two, but otherwise I do nothing in December, just also because I hate the cold.
That's fair.
And and I think that one of the things that I have had to slowly learn too, that I wish that I would have, kind of gotten in the beginning, and this is a money-based thing, so I feel like maybe I wouldn't have had the access to it, but outsourcing as much as you can and letting other people take over things for you that are taking up too much time, that aren't serving you, things like that.
Yeah, that's something I've been talking to I've been trying to meet other people who are business owners just to kind of get those gems. And I was talking to a guy the other day, and he was like, one of the biggest problems for small businesses, especially in America, is we try to hold on to all the roles. Like we try to do everything inside of our businesses when we could give something away that can be very beneficial to us if we just gave it away and spent the money. So the benefit is going to outweigh the cost by 1,000 times. But there's just this idea that we have to do everything when we start this stuff, and you don't. I mean, you could really find, hey, I can't pay you right now, but if you can just help me out with this, we can work out this deal or this plan for the future, blah, 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 and you write a contract, whatever. But it's very doable. You just have to be able to say, I can't. I can't.
Yeah.
Like, and what can I? And what do I like to do? And what will I like? What will my business see a benefit from me doing? Like, what is my genius? Where does my genius lie? So I definitely agree with that. I feel the same way, even today.
Well, and I feel like you mentioned something very important there too, which is like being able to say I can't, and people don't want to do that because it makes it feel like a failure.
Yes.
And you're not. You're just someone who realizes that in order to like effectively do one thing, you need to let 5 others go.
Yes.
And I very recently, like in the last like 4 or 5 months, hired an assistant to take my phone calls and do my sales. And so when a client reaches out to me, she handles setting up like their client portals and letting them know like how the process and stuff works. And she answers all my emails and she talks to people on the phone. And she, right now, she's, I think, going to my studio to go hang up all my lingerie because I had a bunch of laundry to do. And she was just like, what can I do for you this week? I know you're overwhelmed. And I was like, please go hang up and size the lingerie because I cannot.
Yeah.
And she's doing it.
Wow.
That's dope.
That's amazing.
That is amazing.
I was excited
I love it.
to have somebody to help me with emails, like answering emails. Like I can't wait to have
Yeah.
that. Like
Oh, and it's like it can't be beat. Like I really love it. And then like it got to the point of where like I was paying her hourly, but like, so for example, her first month working for me taking calls, she made me $16,000. So I sat here and looked and realized that she was going to make $200 from like my hourly. And I said, oh, that's not fair.
Love it.
And I was like, I don't love that. And so I set up like a commission schedule, like asked her if she would be okay if doing that. And then I would pay her. So she either gets commission or hourly based off of which one would pay her more that month.
Oh, wow.
And so that month I was like, okay, well, we're changing it like now. And so that month, I think she made like $1,500. So she's making like a 2 to 4% commission on every sale that she brings in.
Love it.
Wow.
Love it. Boss moves. Those are real boss moves. Like this whole like being greedy and not like supporting the people who are supporting you is weak. I hate that stuff.
Yes.
So I pay your people, pay them, man. You wouldn't have the things you have if you didn't have those people. So that's how I want to be when I have employees too, is I'm just like, well, whoever gets paid the least, I'll take that. And then you guys can take more on other stuff. You know what I'm saying? Like where we kind of pass the wealth around.
Yeah, exactly. Like I couldn't be successful if she wasn't helping me. So for me to pay her less, it just doesn't sit right with me.
Yeah. Good for you, man.
Yeah, that's dope. I love that. I just love to see, again, like love to see business owners doing the right thing. Because I think the right thing leads to more positive situations for your business. Like Those people, you take care of your employees and they take care of you. They're gonna be that. We always talk about like advertising is a big thing right now. Well, spend money on Facebook ads, spend money on Instagram ads. No, your employees will advertise for you and harder than a
Your
Facebook or
clients,
an Instagram
yes.
ad ever would.
Your clients
Mhm.
will go to bat for
That
you
too.
if
Yep.
you are doing the right things that you need to be doing. Like, stop
Yep.
spending money on that and spend money on them. Like, put your efforts and your time
Yes.
into them. Um, I
Mhm.
do have this huge question because like I said, I'm a huge fan. I've been a huge fan of
Yeah.
KC for a very long time. And the one thing that stood out to me the most, and when I saw your business, it freaking floored me. I have been in the photography industry for so freaking long, and I remember how toxic and disgusting it used to be. I remember photographers not willing to talk to other photographers. Oh, hey, where did you shoot? Oh, that's none of your business. Like, I remember all of these different, like, really bad, icky conversations between people. And I also remember how awful the industry was when it came to, oh, you want to do a boudoir shoot? Well, here, let me Photoshop the shit out of your face, your body. Let's throw tons of makeup on you, all of that. Okay. When I saw Good Bodies, KC, and I saw you completely ripping that stereotype apart, where the hell did
Mhm.
that come from? Like, how what were some stereotypes that you had to fight on very early in your career, and how did you get there? Like, there's really literally nobody like you, seriously.
Thank you. There are actually a couple people that I have inspiration from and that I think whose work you would love as well. So I'm going to plug them here in a minute.
Please.
But I think the most important thing was when I started, I, like many other people, women especially, was raised in like an environment where what you look like and how thin you were and everything was like so important to who you were. Like, I remember being a teenager and like looking at myself in the mirror and stepping on the scale and being like, if I ever weighed over 125 pounds, I would literally kill myself. Like, I remember saying that. And I am now 250 pounds and I love every inch of it. And it's been a real struggle. So when I first got into the industry, boudoir was definitely not as mainstream as it is now. I was just kind of playing around with it. I truly was still like a toxic human being in my own right. Like, I was still just like, certain people like shouldn't be doing this. Like, I shouldn't be like advertising to certain people. Those people don't have the look that I would want to display in my portfolio. I was airbrushing the shit out of people. And
Oh, we all did. We all did.
yes, yes. And I was just like, ew, acne, who needs that in their photo? And then it got to a point of where I started seeing, and I'm trying to think of maybe whose work I saw first, or if I just kind of said, fuck it, I don't feel like photoshopping anymore. Because then honestly, I'm pretty lazy, so it could be the second one. and and then I think I came upon, so there's Terry Hofford, who is an amazing photographer. I can never remember if she uses Hofford or Ledgerwood for her stuff, but she really does kind of like the radical, like self-love and not body positivity, but body neutrality and just learning to live in the skin that you're in. And then I actually got my photos taken by Cheyenne Gill last year, who has also changed her name. I think it's like Cha-Cha something. Oh, I wish I came prepared with that. But both of them are people.
We can tag him afterwards.
Yeah.
Oh, perfect. Okay. And both of them really, really, really meant it. Like, when they started doing things like that. And then I was just like, oh, okay. So like, other people do this and they are successful with it. Because at the time I was still like a little no name. I didn't have a lot. The people who were in my industry around me were doing that, you know, thin white woman thing, and they still do. And I don't think that there's necessarily anything wrong with that. Like, if that's your clientele, that's your clientele. Just don't be confused when nobody who doesn't look like that doesn't come to you, you know?
Yeah.
That was probably like 4 double negatives. That's fine.
We're here for it.
And so there was like a point in me where I was just like, what if I just did what I wanted? And I started, like, especially because I had my wedding brand and I was starting to do that anyway, where I was just like, I want to focus on people who aren't photographed, because those are the people who want it the most, but they just don't know where to go. They're afraid that they'll be turned down. They're afraid they'll be made fun of in public forums, which happens all the time. So in order to want something, like we always talk about it, representation matters. So someone needs to see a fat woman doing boudoir, which is also why I now do my own session every year. I go to a different photographer, I travel for them. And I pay, you know, the thousands of dollars, just like I ask people to pay me, and I have my photos taken and then I display them, and I want to hype that photographer up, and I want to let people know that like I'm going to put my money where my mouth is. So when people really started seeing that, and I got the messages and people like, and I was displaying other clients, and let me tell you, I thought that I would become a stronger person one day and I wouldn't get emotional when it happens. But when someone messages me and like will send a picture to me of like a client and will go, my body looks like this person's, thank you so much. I never thought that someone like me should or would do something like this. And then I saw this person with her belly rolls, and like I have like an apron belly like that sags, or I am like a thick woman with tiny boobs, which you don't see very often, and she looks phenomenal. And now I know I can do this. It gets me every damn time, and I am it's beautiful. It's like so great. And so like there are a lot of people now who are kind of starting to get into it, but who like don't really want to go all the way. I mean, it's the same people who like don't want to say their political beliefs because they think they're going to turn somebody away. And I'm like, girl, you better say you hate Trump loud and proud. People want to hire you for that. You better say it with your whole damn chest. And it will get you the clients that you want, and the people who like don't hire you because of it are people you don't want in the first place. So do what you want. It's your business. That's what's so cool. I was just talking to somebody the other day because somebody was like, aren't you worried about being naked on the internet? And I said, for what? I work for myself.
Yeah.
Why do I?
Who's going to ban me?
I am naked. Right. Who's going to say something? Are you going to tell my mom? I sent her the link. She's fine. Like, I don't care.
Yes.
I literally do not care. So that's what's great about working for yourself too. You get to set the rules. Do what you want.
Yep. Get that face tattoo.
Get that.
Yes. I actually said the other day that I wanted a neck tattoo, and my husband just stared at me, and I was like, okay, so no? Okay. And he was like, I just think it's weird that you're going to start with a neck and you won't have like anything else. And I was like, well, yeah, like this face is my moneymaker.
But this neck though, he can get it. This neck.
Yeah, this neck. You can't even see my neck half the time. Like it's fine. Like whatever. It's whatever.
Hell yeah, that's fucking
so
awesome.
That's dope though.
Oh my gosh,
I love that though. That's dope. Like, I mean, there's a lot there, especially the speak on who you want to be and what type of clients you want, because that stuff comes to fruition. Like I know for lately I've been getting a lot of clients that are like my perfect client because I've been showing people the work that I want to make, and they're like, oh, he does that. So they've been coming to me for that type of stuff, and I'm like, and they're actually chill, and they're actually like not crazy, because I've in the past had a lot of clients who are like, hey, you want to push some pixels around for me? Go ahead, do that. I'm gonna pay you a couple, like $100 to push some pickles around for me, and I'm gonna tell you what to do for 3 weeks. And it's just like $100 for like. So I've had to do a lot of soul searching, a lot of understanding what it means to be an expert and how to lead people in a process. So now proudly rates are going up, and we've been talking about money here. So like my base package now is around $3,000, and people are willing to pay that. Like. No problem.
Oh, yeah, they are.
Yeah.
Dude, and Cameron puts every single ounce of work into that. I mean, it is like from start to finish, you're like, holy hell, how is all that knowledge in your head right now?
Yes. No, that is phenomenal. And like, I have a friend right now that I try to bully every so often into raising her prices, and she's finally getting a little bit better, but whatever. And I think that it's like, it's so important to charge what your worth is. And like, sometimes I'll just be like, you don't know until you try. Like, have you tried to raise those prices? And I understand sometimes like you might not be in a position to, but why not every time you book 5 people at a certain rate, raise it a little?
That's how I do it. Every time I get 2, I raise it a little.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and I don't know, like in the beginning, I was so terrified of asking people for money because I knew how bad it was to go without it. And I'm like, I just feel so bad. And my friend would always be like, Jessa, they're literally coming to you for a reason. Like they want to be there with you. And I'm like, yeah, but if I raise my money or raise my prices, then maybe they can't afford me and then they don't want to shoot with me. And she's like, stop. But I would just feel this guilt. Like they'd be like, okay, now how much? And I'd be like, whatever. What?
That's
Whatever you want to
Pay what you can.
Pay what you.
Yeah. See, no.
And then that's
get her
why
together. Get her together. Please get her together.
I was always
Yes.
but I wasn't making money because I couldn't say it with my chest, literally. Like it scared
Exactly.
the shit out of me.
No, and you have to, and that goes back to, you can't decide what your clients can and can't afford, right? So like I every year will do like a giveaway of some sort. Right now I'm doing one just to get my Instagram followers up to 10K because I'm tired of telling people where I got my ugly outfits one person at a time. Swipe up. Get that link to that outfit you should not be interested in. And so I just feel like at this point, I need to be like, I try to give back in like whatever way I can. So usually I'll just give away like a free session fee, or every month in my group when people participate, they get something. Like I gave away like a couple $100 Kate Spade backpack last month. Oh, wow. And it's just like, if I'm making money, then I should be able to do that. Some days I'll just be like, hey, I loaded up a gift card for Starbucks for $250. Use this link and you can get coffee on me today. And like, just like that small gesture, everyone's just like, oh, holy shit, that's so nice of you. And I'm like, it took me 5 seconds and I had the extra cash this month. So like, please like have a better day and let me be the cause of it if that's what it needs to be. But I feel like you have to make sure that you are communicating effectively, like you just said, like, now that you have to put those processes and those boundaries in place, and people are going to be like, oh shit, this person knows what they're talking about. I'll pay them $3,000. Like, what? That's not a problem. Yeah. And eventually, like, you can go further. I know people now who will charge $10,000 for a wedding and not bat an eyelash. And do I look at it and go, I'd pay $10,000 for that? No, but then I'm not their ideal client.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Oh my god!
I heard that in the design world. Like they're just like, yeah, there's people out here charging $80,000 for a logo, and people are paying it. And these people have clients, and people have no problem paying them. And I'm like, yeah, people just be asking. You just got to be bold enough to ask, and know who has that type of money. So maybe you shape your business around those people, but but you gotta be a little. You gotta have some forethought, and I think that's. We talked about hustle earlier, and that's something I've always talked about a lot is like, I don't know, I feel like it might be a little bit of Black culture we want to hustle. Like we didn't have a lot, so we want to hustle so hard, but we got to put some thought before that hustle. Else, what are we really doing? We're going to burn ourselves out. And then we're going to be looking at everybody else like, hey, why aren't you taking care of me? But it's you got to be thinking out. If you need to go find a mentor, need to go find a book. If you need to go find a training, go find what you got to find to get to where you got to get. But most of this is really just meeting people and learning. There's people out there who do it right and would love to sit down and speak to you. That's really what it comes down to.
Yeah.
Finding a good mentor is absolutely just like can shuttle you, even if it's just something to bounce ideas off of. I also have a few group chats where I just talk to other creatives, and it's like so great because then I don't have to bother like my normie friends who are just like, why are you sending me all this bullshit? I don't care. And we can like talk about pricing, and I can be like, oh, look at this new logo that I just made. And they're like, okay. And I'm just like, hey, my bad. Sorry for bothering you with my friendship. So like, you can kind of figure it out from there,
Yeah. For sure. I do that to my wife. I'm like, hey, because I love logos. I'm a nerd when it comes to it. And then I'll be like, hey, did you see that new Smashburger logo? And she's like, I don't want to talk about this right now. Like, I guess I'll go talk to somebody else, or I'll go talk to this wall real quick.
I'll be walking through the store and I'll see branding and I'll be like, Cameron would like this. And I would take a picture of like a toothpaste bottle and be like, Cameron, did you know that this is Colgate? They totally changed their name. Look at this. Like, it's so funny. Yeah. Oh,
I love it though. I love that we have passions though. Like when like in that time where you were selling cars or working at Apple, what is there to be passionate about that stuff? Like there's not really.
Some people will sell a car into their deathbed. Okay. When I was trying to make money as a photographer, I was photographing everything. I literally walked into a dealership and I said, your photos suck on your website. There's a thumb in this photo. Can I start taking pictures for you? $20 a car. And they were like, Bet. And I would literally walk in and start taking pictures of cars, like 8 to 10 cars in an hour in like 100-degree weather, but I'd be walking out with some fat cash.
What?
And oh yes, yes. And I got really sad when I moved up here to St. Louis because that was like a hometown dealership, and I worked for them for almost 2 years. And working with them alone, that was my first year that I hit 70K. Like just because I was working with them. Yes, like I was freaking going. But I moved up here to St. Louis, and everybody wants like their car photoshopped behind an American flag and like all this really dumb shit. And I'm like, I don't want to do that. But like I was taking pictures of soccer teams, I was doing dealerships, I was taking pictures of people's dogs, like literally anything and everything to just make money.
Yeah.
First of all, I want you to go invent something.
What?
I want you to invent something, and then I want you to go on Shark Tank, and then I want you to tell them that story, and you are going to get a standing ovation from Kevin O'Leary. I'm floored. That is hustled to a degree that, again, my lazy ass will never know. I am very proud of you. What an inspiring story.
I don't know if I've ever told anybody that.
No, I've never heard that before.
Really?
No,
Oh
never.
my gosh. Well, and the cool thing was that I didn't have to edit the pictures. Like I literally had to walk into the office, upload the photos, like put it into their system, and then walk away. And then the pictures would be up. And it would be really cool because a lot of because I had to do like all the pictures on the inside of the car, all the pictures on the outside of the car. And a lot of the car salespeople would walk up to me and be like, this person literally just said they came in because your pictures that you took of the car were better than everybody else's pictures. Because all the dealerships, literally, it would be cell phone pictures and their thumb would be like this. Their fingers. And I'm like, how'd they get their thumb? How are they holding the camera?
Oh my God.
Yeah.
I didn't know you had that in you, Jessa. Like,
Listen, we were poor. Like we were broke. I was like 5 seconds away from losing my car, and my car note was like $600 a freaking month plus insurance. Yeah. And we just had a newborn baby. I was like, I need to figure out something. And I had a friend who worked at the dealership, and he was like, hey, you're a photographer. Do you want to take pictures of cars? And I was like, let's go. I was like, I looked at your pictures. They kind of suck. Let's go. Like,
I love that.
So like, I think that's a good point too. I think that when you are born without, like when people don't have generational wealth, when people are poor, you have a different mindset. You are going to work harder. You know what it's like to struggle, and you don't want to go back to that place. Yeah. And I remember we had like whenever you graduated, there was like a thing you could attend beforehand where all of the seniors in the photo program would line up and they would talk about what they were going to do after school. And it was a lot of Christian white women who were like, I'm 20 and I just got married, and my husband is going to be supporting me on my dreams to being a wedding photographer or like a family photographer. And so they're like, so I don't have to have a job when I'm out of here, and that's what I'm doing. And let me tell you, I think out of our graduating class, I think there's me and one other person out of like the 15, 20 of us that is actually still doing photography.
Yes.
And it's just interesting to me because they're like, oh, I have something to fall back on. Like, I'm just going to go do that right now. And I was just like, oh, I got bills to pay. So you'll see me at Apple.
Yeah. You'll see me at Apple. Girl, I was a waitress. I worked in a nursing home. I worked at a hospital. I was doing all sorts of everything in between.
So you were getting yelled at too, huh?
All the time, especially by old people and sick people all the time.
I would always do this thing where like, because while I was going to school, I would come home in the summers and always like, well, I got to touch the people. So I would work at like Walmart or McDonald's or just
touch the people.
So, well, because I was going to an engineering school. So again, there's only like 10% Black people, and that's all we got is like us, and everybody else is not us.
Right.
So I'd be in class because all of us, again, that 10%, we all have different majors across the board. So I would be in class most of the time, the only Black person in class of all white people. And I'm like, and these are white people who have, because they're in these engineering majors, never had a normal job before.
Yeah.
They're like, I've just been smart. I've never had to have a job. My parents are just like, go out in the world and be smart. And that's really what it is. And so you really get out of touch. So I would go and work these jobs, and I'm like, I worked Walmart in the town that my college was in, and there was just a lot of just normal people that I would work with, and they're just like, yeah, I worked 70 years as a police officer in New Orleans, and I got my pension, and they cut my pension, and so now I'm here working at Walmart. And I'm like, man, like this. So there's a lot of, that's what you need some of that. You need some of that in your life to really understand what the world is kind of going through, and kind of, I mean, to understand what you could be also going through too. Like, so to kind of give you that little edge to understand how to be different, and how to kind of get out there, and how to take care of people when they need help and that kind of stuff. So I would always do that, and it was just crazy to see how people got treated. Like, there was one time they cut all our hours, and because I was just part-time, didn't really matter, I had like maybe 20 hours that week, and the guy who had the pension, they cut his hours down to 4. And I'm like, this guy is like, they said he said he got his pension cut and his wife's at home with cancer. And I'm like, this is, and you know what I'm saying? Like, that's
the
the
world
stuff
that we live in.
Yeah.
Yes,
The American dream.
Yeah.
The American dream, absolutely.
Well, and that's what, so in college, I don't know if you've ever heard of this place, but have you heard of, they have one in St. Louis, the Picture People. It's closed now, I think.
Yes. Yeah.
So I worked there
down,
for, I worked there for 3 years, worked my way up to being an old manager, got myself a little $2 raise. And then they were like, oh, but we're cutting your hours in half. And I was like, so then what was the raise for? for show?
I worked for an amazing company. Oh geez, what was it called?
That's crazy.
Oh gosh, I was a newborn photographer in hospitals. Okay, I used to do like fresh 48 in hospitals.
Wait, ma'am, hold on.
Listen.
Are you about to tell me that was an amazing job for you? Because I also did that.
No,
it was the worst job I've ever had in my life.
Quit in less than 3 months. So I get there. So I had made I was applying because we had just moved here to St. Louis. I didn't have a clientele here. I didn't know what to do. I'm like, okay, like, how do I do this? And so I was applying for all these jobs, and this lady reached out to me, and she was like, hey, you have the qualifications to be a newborn photographer in this hospital, blah, 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 blah. And I was like, oh my gosh, I love taking pictures of newborns. Like, let's go. Why not? Like, because I would, like, one of my favorite things, anytime I have a friend who has a baby, the first thing, and this is the thing that sucks about COVID, I would go to the hospital and I would take pictures of them with their first few moments with their newborn baby. Like, that was, nothing posed, nothing, just literally hospital. Like, this is what a mom looks like. These are the bandages and the wraps and the blood and like literally all of it. And so I was so freaking excited. And then I started going through this training, and it was the most 1960s posing guide, and nothing was allowed to be creative, and you had to do these 8 specific poses, and there was a whole thing that you had to do with them. And by the way, if you are not in a hospital room, you were not getting paid. As soon as you walked out of that room, you clocked out, you did your paperwork, and then you clocked back in to go into another room. And if you weren't pushing $800, $600, $1,000 packages for sales, you were failing. Here's the fun part. Here's the kicker. I was in a hospital in Northside St. Louis, okay? Very, 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 very poor area, the place that I was in. Mm-hmm. I was seeing extremely young moms that like, and like, I'm glad that I had that job, because I was able to connect with these girls and be able to like see the other flippin' side of it. But I had moms that were anywhere from, oh my gosh, 14 and up, okay? And I would have to walk in there and try to push these $800 and $1,000 packages on these brand new moms. And I'm just like, are you kidding? I mean, they literally couldn't even afford pictures of their baby because of this program, because of this thing. And I was like, you guys make me flippin' sick. Like, I cannot. There was one time they sent us an email that said, remember, it's the holidays. Make sure to get into the grandparents' pockets. I wish I was flipping kidding. As soon as they sent me that email, I put in my 2 weeks and I said, I'm done. I cannot do this. This is disgusting. You guys are deplorable. Like, this is the worst thing I've ever seen in my life. Not only that, they were hiring people who didn't need photography experience.
Oh yeah, you don't, because they tell
You don't need photography experience. I would get
because you're not allowed to touch the settings.
I would literally get in trouble for putting my camera on manual and not using their donut splash.
Yeah, no, you were supposed to use those settings. Do not move them. I worked for companies where they taped them down so you couldn't use them. They put tape on them and they said, don't touch these buttons. You don't know what they do. And I said, disagree.
Disagree. Yes, they and I would always get calls. Hey, you didn't do the posing that we want. I'm like, yeah, but my client actually bought all their pictures because they didn't look like shit. So what? I mean, they literally had us do this whole spiel. Like it was like an actual rehearsed sales pitch that you had to go in after this mom just pushed a new life out of her vagina, and you have to be in her face giving her a sales pitch.
Hi, I am Jessa, and I am here with Photo Today, and we want to sell you photos of your newborn baby.
Yes.
That's exactly what it is. And I did it in a small town in Warrensburg, and you had to do that, but then it was also a security thing. So no one was allowed to say no to me, because if your baby got taken, they wanted a photo of it so they could track it down. No one could say no to me because I had to, like, they didn't have to buy it, but no one was allowed to say, I don't want a photo of my child taken, because it was a security risk. So if someone took off with a baby, I had to have a photo of it in my stuff so that they knew who the child belonged to.
Thankfully, we had papers. They had to give us permission before we could walk in their room.
Nope.
Wow.
No, and then I got in trouble if I missed somebody, because I would go in and someone would be like, I don't feel well enough. And so I'd be like, I'm not going to bother you. And then I'd get a call the next day and they'd be like, why didn't you talk to them? And I was like, because they were on drugs, Susan, and they didn't want to talk to me.
I literally told my boss, I said, if they had a C-section, the first 2 or 3 days, I'm not going in there and talking to them, because they would literally be on these heavy drugs. I'm like, that's rude. I'm not doing that.
They are tired. They just had major abdominal surgery. It's so it's just so weird. And I just feel like there's so many things that just like don't go into that. And there's so many unethical things. And walking in on a woman who just gave birth, or sorry, any person, a birth giving person, and they've just given birth, and you walk in and you're just like, yeah, spend all this money, please. Although I know that you barely know what your name is. That's fucked up to me. And it's a predatory service. And I didn't even last a month. I was like, this is the most fucked up thing I've ever done. And it's just so weird, because there's so many things in our industries that are like that, like where you don't even think about it, and then you're like, oh, this is
there's so many things in our lives that are just like predatory, and if you think too hard about it, you're like, wait, I was taking advantage. Even going to college, like you're 18 and they're like, hey, go figure out the rest of your life. Here's $50,000. Why did you give me $50,000? Like, I don't know what to do with this. Of course, I'm gonna spend it on video games. Like,
yes, I think about it every day, because it would be like, oh, I got my refund because they sent me too much money. And instead of me giving it back, I'd be like, hey, I need a new MacBook. Let's go. I think I didn't need that MacBook. I had just gotten one the year before from that refund. Oh my gosh.
It's just. That's literally why we made this podcast.
Yes, it's unethical. And like, I don't know, I'm gonna get on my soapbox for 2 short seconds. Please. There is, especially when you're a boudoir photographer, I feel like you have an ethical responsibility. You have an ethical responsibility that a lot of people do not take seriously. And it grinds my goddamn gears. I will see people who are just like, oh, if you go on Patreon, I'll show you, or not Patreon. People are creating OnlyFans, and they're like, you can see my client's nipples if you go on there. I could do what? Oh, I'm not even shitting you. And to be honest, I think some of them have permission. I still don't like it. Still don't like it, even if you have permission.
My eyes.
I feel like I think that it is wild. There are people who will like go into these groups, which is why I've left 90% of them, but they will go into these groups and they'll be like, I don't know how to pose a fat woman, or like, what do I do? Tell me how to get rid of this person's rolls. And I'm just like, don't. If you're fat, like, we know we're fat. I didn't ask you to do anything about it. What? Like, I just had I had my photos taken by another photographer who I was a little worried about, because she photographs mostly thin white women. And I told her, like, I was like, I'm concerned about how my body's going to translate in your images. And we've talked a few times. She's very nice when,
Good for you. Good for you for saying that.
Oh, Yeah. And so like I had a good time. And then when it came time for her to like pick what she was going to edit, she just goes, so like, what do you want to do? And she's like, less than my normal. Cause she's like, I know you don't do a lot. And I was like, thank you for asking me that. Yeah, no, I'm good. Please don't do that. I want all of my roles showing. I want like everything doing what it do.
I want
I
my
don't have,
stretch marks. I want my veins. I want it all. Give it. Let's go.
I want them
I was
things
like,
singing.
yes, exactly. I want them things thinging.
Yes.
And, it's really nice because people always be like, oh my God, you look like me. And I'm like, yeah. And like, you know, there's also like a big stigma in like the Black community about like showing your body like that because like it's a big religion thing. So a lot of Black women don't want to do it or they're very scared. Like I've had someone straight up be like, I don't trust you not to show my images on the internet, even though I tell you you can't. And I was just like, then don't, please don't pick me if you're worried about that. Like, I don't want that burden on me and just don't do it.
That's actually a question I have for you. As I try to break my microphone, sorry. That was a question I have for me or for you because so your Facebook group is private, right? Is your Instagram private or is it's okay. So how do you deal with people who have negative things to say, or how do you, I mean, I know a lot of your clients are so happy to let you share their work. Do you ever get worried about how their work's going to be used outside of being a private Instagram, anything like that?
So no, because I have like a very frank talk. I have like a couple of reels. I'm actually probably going to make one again about it today.
Okay.
Where I just talk about how if you are at all afraid of someone that you know seeing your photos, I don't care who it is. If it's a person that exists in this world and you would not want them to see the photos, do not share it.
Yeah.
Tell me no.
Yeah.
Find either an anonymous release, but sometimes I'm still like, if you have a tattoo that's recognizable, if you think someone could even have an inkling that it could be you, tell me no. I don't care. But so I don't know. Do you know who Fat Girl Flo is?
No. Oh wait, did you just take pictures of her?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Okay, so I just took took pictures of of her and her partner Jay, and they have stalkers because they are what they refer to as super fats, and so they are like people who everyone feels need to comment on their life and comment on their health and comment on things when they're just out here living their lives. They're doing what they want to do. They are happy, joyful. They are the kindest people that I've ever met in my lives. They are so funny. And they're not brave for sharing their lives online. They are just trying to be people and they are choosing to share their lives with you. And so they have a stalker and they like know that they have forums dedicated to them. They've had all kinds of stuff happen. I'm not sure how comfortable they would be with me like sharing specifics, but like they just have a lot of hate going on towards them. And because I photographed them, I get it. And so there was a time earlier this year for about 2 months that I had to turn off comments on my entire Instagram. I archived most of my feed, which is why I don't have very many posts. There was someone going through and just commenting emojis of cows on my fat clients. They were calling me the N-word. They were just harassing. And then they were finding like if my clients commented and were like, oh my God, I'm so happy you shared this. They were going to their Instagrams and then harassing them. And then whenever I shut everything down, they started to email me and they were like using personal information of mine that they had found from stalking me. Like my grandpa, who is like my father, had just died and they were messaging me about him. And it was probably one of the scariest things that I've ever had to go through. Like it wasn't just because like I can deal with trolls. I can't deal with people who violate my boundaries, find me on other media, find my email, and then message me about my dead grandpa who hadn't even been dead like more than a couple weeks. And it was super uncomfortable. And the way that you have to deal with that is just pretty much not to acknowledge it. So I made a couple of posts about it, just like explaining like why I would be going offline for a little bit and that I just wasn't gonna like, I limited comments. I made it so that certain people couldn't say things. I stopped tagging people. I asked people not to tag themselves in my posts if they saw stuff because I just didn't want them to be harassed by it. And it hurt my friends' feelings. And then I felt responsible for that. And it was just a really, really hard time for me because I just felt like I had ruined their lives by making them subject to this troll whose response was just because he's mad at someone for existing or for being fat that they could ruin my life and the life of my friends, and essentially could have ruined my business by making people feel unsafe on posting things on my account.
Mhm. Yeah. Oh my gosh, Tayanna.
That is that is there's some really sad people out here. Is really like and that's I don't that and that's me and my wife always talk about, like, the internet shouldn't be for everybody. Like, or you should walk around with a tag that says, "Hey, I'm me," and you should be able to have your life ruined too if you're trying to ruin someone else's life. So that I hate hearing stories like that, because what are you doing? You're just what are
Yeah.
they doing? They're just living, being alive. And I hate that, like, fat people, again, I've been fat my whole life, and it's just like, why do you care about someone else who's just living? Let people just live their lives. Like that.
I saw a TikTok the other day that makes me laugh harder than anything else in the world. And it is a woman eating a cheeseburger, and someone said, "You have to stop eating like that. You're going to die." And her response while she was chewing was, "Why the fuck do y'all care so much about me being alive? Are you going to ask to marry me soon? Why I got to be here? I'm fine. Like, if I go, I go." And I was just like, wow, I feel that. Like, why do you give a shit if I'm alive? Like, why does my health matter to you?
Girl, and the reason that I asked that is we have a boudoir business that we've been trying to grow for a couple of years now, and like literally I became like a Patreon of yours because you literally changed the way that we do our business. It's freaking fantastic. Like, I was so excited
thank
when
you.
you were like, my workflow, I'm gonna do this. I was like, and then it said, "Oh wait, it's not working." I was like, "No!" Like,
oh, did you see that I put it up?
yeah, you put it up, and I
Okay.
haven't had a chance to watch it yet, but I was very, very excited.
Cool.
So our Instagram is private right now, and we literally, like, we don't let men in at all because we've had an issue with men like being really creepy on our Instagram page. And like but the thing that really upset me was a couple months back, we had a girl who was screenshotting pictures of another woman that we had just photographed, sending it to her boyfriend, and then her boyfriend was sending it to his best friend, who happened to be the boyfriend of the girl we just took pictures of, and was like, "Why is your girlfriend doing this? Do you know that she's doing this? He was fucking there. He was standing right there when we were taking pictures of her. What is, like, and it's literally a private, and I was like, you guys, like, I said, why is that any of your business, first of all? Secondly, we have worked so hard to make this a safe space for everybody, and you are ruining it. Like, what? So I ended up putting a thing in our contract that says, like, if you work with us, you acknowledge that you need to be respectful of everybody's stuff. Like, if other people's pictures are not yours to screenshot and to send to other people, it's none of your goddamn business what other people are doing. Like, stop. We ended up figuring out who it was, and we kicked her out of the group, but I was just so freaking disappointed. I was like, how does Tayanna deal with this? Because yeah, it was really
First
upsetting.
of all, I tell those people to stop having stank coochie energy. That's what I call it. I don't like it. That's I don't like it. I think it's not cute.
It's not.
And anytime it happens, I go live in my group, and I'm gonna be real honest. I've lied a couple times and been like, I know who it is.
Yeah.
And I'm like, and it's best if you just out yourself because you're about to get kicked out. So here's your last chance to explain yourself. And then I'll have someone message me and be like, "I'm so sorry. I just did it for X, Y, and Z reasons." And I'm just like, that's what I fucking thought. Bye. And then I just block them. I don't have time for that. And yes, because people are stupid. They don't know how Facebook works. They're just on there minding not to mind their own business. And I'll be honest, like, there's nothing you can do about it. So I don't want you to feel like you're responsible for what that person did, because that just means that they have an ugliness and inside their heart that they need to go to a therapist and discuss. But in the meantime, what you can do is make sure that your clients know, and I'm going to tell you right now, this is some weird shit that I probably need to dive into some psychology books about, but every time I get angry because someone has done something stupid in my group like that, and I will go live immediately after it happens. Like, I had one person once comment, like, a girl had gotten very excited because she had worn shorts for the first time in like 6 years. And she came in my group and she posted a picture of herself in the shorts. And someone commented and said, "When you look like that, you shouldn't be wearing shorts." And I, like, literally, and this only happens when I'm busy. This only happens when I'm out doing shit, trying to live my life. And so I was just like out with my husband and my phone was blowing up. And I was like, what is going on? And everyone's like, you need to kick this person out of the group. Somebody is doing some shit. I was like, I have 4 admins. Somebody else can handle it. What is happening? Yeah. And then I found out, I stopped what I was doing. I ran into my office. I opened up my computer. I went live and I said, I don't know who the fuck thought that was okay to be doing in my group, but here's what we're not going to do. And then I called her out. Mm-hmm. I told her to go to therapy. I told everybody else that if somebody in my group feels the need to talk like that, then they need to leave post haste. Mm-hmm. And I told people that it won't be tolerated. And every time that I'm mean to somebody like that in my group, I get like 4 inquiries.
Oh yeah.
4
no. Yes. So I went live in the story and I was like, hey, like, this is not fucking okay. I said, if you think that you're here in this group to make fun of women or to tell on them or like I literally went off. And so it's my best friend and I, like, we co-partner in this business, like we co-founded it together. And so we were both going back and forth. Like we weren't even near each other. She was posting and then I was posting. I got nervous because I was like, I don't want to scare other women, like other people. Like I don't want to scare other people from wanting to be part of this. We had over 30 messages going, you get them, you tell them, like, thank you so much for making this a safe space. And I was like, oh, and then like 3
people
of those
just get excited.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I was like,
yeah,
oh,
they want to know. Okay. They just want to know that you have their best interest at heart. Yeah. And so if you're doing everything you can, and if you're sticking up for people, and if you are laying down the law, people are going to understand that mistakes happen and that you're not a babysitter. You can't sit in a Facebook group all day. You can't sit on Instagram all day and babysit other people. But what you can do is your best effort to try to make sure that those people can't get into your spaces. Mm-hmm. So it's just something you kind of have to get used to. There's like some things that I still have incredibly thin skin about and I'm learning, but there's stuff like that where I just kind of have to be like, well, there's nothing better that I could have done. And now all I can do is make sure that everyone knows that, like, I'm not going to let it happen. And that as soon as I figure it out, someone's getting kicked out of the group. You aren't going to be allowed to book with me. Like I have a straight up do not book list, like in my phone. And if like my assistant has it, and if that person comes trying to get something from me, we tell them that we are not booking at this time. And then we turn them away. Like,
yeah, good.
You're in charge.
Good. Man. Thank you.
Yeah, I'm glad you got to talk about that though, Jess. Like,
yeah, I am too, because I felt so bad about it for a very long time. Like I take stuff like that very personally, and I know that I really shouldn't, but I just felt so bad for that girl because she literally told us, she's like, I don't ever do anything like this. And she was the one who contacted us and said, this person has literally been sending my pictures to my boyfriend, like asking, she was like, I think it's somebody in the Instagram, because that's the only place that we had posted her pictures. And it was just like, I was floored. I was like, why would you do that? Why is that any of your business? Why do you care? What you sent it to your boyfriend, whose boyfriend sent it to her boyfriend because he was there. And usually, do you have like a partner's rule about, like, I know that sounds weird, but sometimes we've had boyfriends that have gotten like really rude. And so we're like, hey, if you want to bring a girlfriend or a friend, that's fine. But like sometimes, like, I don't know. I know it sounds weird, but we've literally had some partners that have been very un-okay with their partners doing pictures with us.
So they're just giving off weird energy.
Yes.
So I think that's honestly almost 2 separate things, because one, I generally don't allow people to bring people to the studio at all. Okay. I think that I will make exceptions occasionally, but I will explain, like, the reason I don't is because people will think they're being helpful, but I've had people come and they're like, suck in your gut, you look weird, or they'll be like, and they think that they're being helpful and helping, or they'll be like, that's not your real laugh, but all you're doing is putting them inside their head, and they're not going to feel right, and they're not going to look like themselves in the photos. Right. Second is I've had someone bring someone and then they both got drunk and started crying in the middle of the session. And so I was just like, hey, no more of that either. And so I'm just like, people, just come by yourself now. And then second is going to be when it comes to someone's partner, that's another thing, which maybe I'll just send you the reel after I make it, because it'll take me 2 seconds. I'm not putting makeup on, but I'm gonna make like a thing just where like I explain to people, like, these are the reasons, like, here is like the kind of what did I decide I was going to do? It's just going to be something like, here's the kind of release you should sign, like based on your current situation. And like, as much as I don't think that someone's partner should necessarily be a point in it, there are people who want to respect their partner's feelings as far as things like that are concerned. I could have never married someone who wouldn't let my boobs be on the internet because it wouldn't have worked. But some people don't feel that way. So I plan on doing something else about that today, just because I feel like it's very important for people to just be like, and I feel like if someone messages me or someone's partner, if someone's partner were to message me directly and say, take these photos down, I don't want my my partner like featured on your website, I would then check with the client, because that's where my contract is. And then and you know what? Sometimes I wouldn't even say shit if they didn't say anything to me. I ignore people who message me who don't have a contract with me. Like, I'm not talking to you. I'm very good at ignoring messages. I'm very good at pretending like I don't know who or what said anything to me. I don't know you. So usually I'll wait until they reach out. And if they reach out and tell me like, hey, I had a conversation, like it's my partner finds it disrespectful and I want the photos taken down. Yeah, I'll do whatever you want. You paid me the money, and I have plenty of clients whose pictures I can show. So if that's what has to happen, then that's fine.
Right, man. Oh, thank you. Thank you for sharing that. Sometimes I'm like, I don't know what the heck. Oh,
That's fair.
It's there. I mean, sometimes you're not going to know. Like sometimes you're just going to have to do, and then whatever comes out the end, you know, to adjust. You adjust from there. I just think a lot of people get in their head before and they don't do anything. So as long as you're doing something, you're winning the battle, and then you're always allowed to adjust from that point. So things do happen. Like I said, I've had bad clients that are bad, just turn out to be bad situations. And I am allowed to adjust from there and understand how to do things differently. And you're allowed to do the same thing, Jess. So
yes, I love telling people that mistakes aren't mistakes. They're simply things that let you know this is how I should retool this, so that the next time that it happens, I'm better prepared.
yes.
You're creating boundaries. You're creating new boundaries to make sure it goes in a straighter path. That is really all it is.
Yes, exactly.
Is there anything, so I do have one last question for you. Is there anything else that you want to talk about that we did not cover?
No, I think we talked about like a lot of yeah, I think we covered like a really wide gamut, and I'm sorry if like I made you guys talk too much, because I feel like this meeting was scheduled for an hour and yet here I am still blabbing.
No, we love it.
We love it. Yeah, we want our guests to be comfortable enough to speak. You know what I'm saying? You don't.
The hour is the goal. You know. It's
yeah. No, I totally understand. No, I think that we've talked like a lot about kind of like the kind of background, and how I think it's just really important for people to understand that boudoir is something that anybody can do, and it's just really important. And like I have taken on like I don't want to call it a side hustle because it's like a full-blown business now, but like just trying to teach other boudoir photographers, because I feel like there's so much that is still that people just don't know how to handle. And there's so many situations that you can find themselves in. And there's a couple of like really big name educators, but they miss, or like they rely really heavily on one thing. Like there are people who just rely on, well, you can't be successful without a Facebook group. And I'm like, I have one, but I don't think that's true at all. And what are you going to do if Facebook gets rid of them? And they'll be like, don't focus on an email list. And I'm just like, my email list gets me tons and tons of clients every year, because like every month I send out like a lingerie newsletter with 10 of my favorite pieces that I found.
So cool.
Thank you. Yeah. And so like we do stuff like that, and people like want to be a part of it. And so like you just have to nurture places and see where your clients are coming from and kind of focus on that. Like I think it's super important to like know your reason for going into boudoir and then go from there, because it can't be for the money. It just can't.
I say that all the time.
The money is
Anyone's business, it cannot be for the money, because you're gonna waste your time. You can go do anything to make money. You have to have a real distinct reason why you're doing this, or people will never understand, and they'll just think of you as another photographer, another boudoir photographer that's out there. But you have to have something that's special. Your why is special, and that's why people will connect to you. So
this is a great episode. I can't wait for this one to air. So my very last question for you is, what would you say to somebody who is just getting started in your business? Is there anything that you wish you would have known early on, like baby Tay? What would you tell baby Tay?
Oh man, a few things. Like I think that the most important thing is I would tell them to listen to your gut, and invest in more workshops than in school, because I think that I learned a lot more than from my peers than I did from school. I would tell them to find like a good group of people who is like good for like brainstorming and letting you know, like you need to find people, and they don't have to be in your area. Some of my best friends are photographers in Kentucky and in North Carolina, and they help me grow every single day, and it feels great. And then I would also probably tell myself that I should quit my job sooner. And stop being a little baby about it, because it goes great. But, you know, I think that it also really meant that I think that it gave me the chance to really know what I wanted to do and know that I didn't want to go back there. I kind of just posted about this the other day on my coaching site, but I think it's just very important to set goals and make them achievable. And then just make them bigger and bigger and bigger. One of my really good photography friends and I last week were just like, hey, what if we just like both tried to make $500,000 next year?
Oh,
and and I was like, I don't know if we'll reach it. Because we're on track to do like over 200 this year. And so I was just like, so what if we just set that goal, and then even if we get close, we just go someplace. We go to Jamaica, we go someplace, and we just celebrate ourselves for like just doing a good job.
Love it.
So it's good to have somebody on your side, and it's good to have like goals to like walk up to, because even if you don't achieve them, you're going to be so proud of yourself for like how much you've done just from like trying it. I didn't think quitting my business I was going to make 6 figures. I was not used to it. I was running in circles where like that didn't necessarily happen all the time. And then I found people who were doing what I wanted to do, and it really, really helped. So I think it's just important to have like good people surrounding you.
Community. We back. We back community. Because that's one thing we talk about. Again, that's one of the reasons we created this podcast. We just felt like a lot of people in the creative fields, innately being a creative, you got to be alone at some points because you have to hone that creativity. But why not have a family or someone you can go to that are struggling with the same things you are? So I love that. Like you really do have to seek out those people that are good for what you're doing instead of what the world says you have to do, which is ridiculous.
And honestly, you two feel like you've got some real good business vibes popping off. If you ever want to, hit me up in a cute little group chat, I'm in. We can talk some shit. I can send you more pictures of Thicken Nugget.
Hey, I'm down.
We actually have coffee breaks every 2 weeks, and they're on Tuesday mornings. So I don't know, but if that works for you, yes. If that doesn't work for you, we can make a whole other coffee break.
Yep. We just love sitting down with people, like just to sit down and chat and break up that day.
Thank you.
Yeah, no, I just like, it's so rare that you get to find creatives who are like-minded. We live in Missouri, and it's just like it's a whole thing. So it's really nice being able to find people, and you're just like, oh, okay, you are like-minded, and you are like out here charging your worth, and you know the struggle, and you're doing what you can, and you're trying to uplift other people rather than like squash them. And I just think that's really cool. So I'm excited. This is really fun. I'm really glad you had me on.
Love it.
Have you ever done a podcast before?
Yes. I did the Bearded Tog with Adam Mason, and his rude ass made me go on after the former White House staff photographer.
Are you kidding?
And I was just like, how, first of all, dare you? Like, how dare you? There is a podcast that's in Kansas City called Talk Like a Lady that they had me on, which was really nice.
Yeah.
And I feel like I'm forgetting one, and I hope those people don't listen to this and get offended. But yeah, I've been on a couple. It's always really nice. Like I really like, I always get invited by really cool, like-minded people. So I'm just kind of like, all right, I'm putting the right vibes out there.
Yeah.
Yes. Thank you. No,
100%.
seriously. Thank you so much for the work that you're doing, for the people that you're reaching. Literally, your work is changing lives, and it's amazing. And we really appreciate you. So thank you for sharing your time with us. We know that you're super busy.
Yeah, no, thank you for like accommodating that stupid schedule. I have to be in Columbia tomorrow, and I have a session, and I was just like, there is no way.
No, you're totally fine. We're glad we were able to make it work. That's usually just a plan, but we're always happy to go off-roading with you. So
Missouri. That was very Missouri.
Yeah.
do you think that was very Missouri?
Peak Missouri vibes. That was peak Missouri.
Yes.
vibes right there.
You're rude. First of all, you're in Phoenix, so hush. You were from here too. No, I'm kidding. That's so funny. We actually went to high school together, and we didn't meet until
cool.
this year in person.
Yes.
Yeah.
And we've been running a podcast together for almost a year.
Yeah. No, that's awesome. The internet brings people together. It's so cool.
Yes, it really does.
For sure.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Well, you guys, I think we are going to wrap it up. This was freaking awesome. We could literally talk all day, but if you could just tell our viewers where they can find you, our listeners where they can find you and hang out with you whenever they have a chance to.
Yeah. So you can find me on Instagram at goodbodieskc. You can find me on my coaching website, which is Tay Nelson Coaching. And then I'm just at goodbodies.com with a hyphen in between, or tay-nelson.com. That's where I do all of my education, all of my boudoir stuff. And if you are looking to become a part of the Facebook community, we are at Good Bodies VIP group. And I would love to see you there. Sometimes we do sexy selfie days. So come take pictures in your panties.
We love it. Oh my gosh. Awesome. Okay. Well, you guys, you heard it right from Tay's mouth. Please go find her, support her, follow her. She's doing some really great stuff. If you want to hang out with us some more, we have some bonus episodes on Patreon. We did open that up. We have a couple of fun things planned for you guys there. So if you want to hang out with us, it's Wisdom by Design podcast on Patreon. We're just wanting to do some new things. So
For sure.
yeah, so
Create that community. We're just trying to
create that community. We will be having monthly meetings for anybody who wants to be involved in that. But you can also find us on anywhere you consume podcasts, literally anywhere. And if you want to watch the professional awkwardness in person, follow us on YouTube. We're at Wisdom by Design podcast there. And then, of course, Instagram, Wisdom by Design podcast on Instagram.
killed that.
A mouthful. I'm like, well, thank you guys for tuning in to another episode of Wisdom by Design. We can't wait to see you back next Friday. And my name is Jessa.
And I'm Cam, and we want to thank Tay for coming on with us today.
Yes. Thank you.
Thank
so
you.
All right.
Much.